Welcome to a little Postgame and Damon here on YouTube. The live stream is underway here at the 2-minute warning. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ask you for an early like. Get this show spreading across the platform as we're about to take a look at what we learned tonight, if anything, about the 49ers. Not a lot to be gleaned, but a few roster spots I think absolutely get secured in this game. And we are very happy to have you here. One of the best, most reasonable chats you're going to find anywhere in sports. Certainly after a post game, during a post game, you're going to find right here on the Plus. I'm very proud of that. Great to see so many regulars already in here. Thank you so much for stopping on by. Again, like and subscribe because we go live at the 2-minute warning of every single 49ers game this upcoming season. And thank God the preseason is almost over. Isn't that nice? Isn't that wonderful? Doesn't that make you want to jump for joy? I mean it. Let's get out of this preseason as quickly as possible. 49ers here are leading 24-21 coming out of the 2-minute warning. This live stream is powered by BetUS. We want to thank them very much for being a part of the show this season. And if you're looking for a new book this season, you've certainly got one waiting for you at BetUS. 125% bonus on the first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Awesome interface, great website. Check it out. Incredible odds. You had massive line movement on this game, and we were talking about it all day long. Hopefully you took advantage of something on BetUS, even though lay off this donkey was pretty much the advice I gave you all week long. Sometimes the bets you don't make are the best bets you do make. When you do start want to make that great bet, make sure you go to BetUS, check out BetUS, and do it in the link that is pinned to the chat, the link that is in the description of this video, BetUS.
BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
Again, it wouldn't be Damon Bruce Plus unless I told you to get yourself an Ike sandwich as soon as you can. Delicious sandwiches just waiting for you. Our friends at the Dubliner, we got nothing but love for you guys. Hopefully you plan on catching a couple games at the Dubliner and West Portal this upcoming season. And the 49ers are just trying to run out the clock in this one. They're up 3, under 2 minutes to play. Obviously, we're on the air, so that's a given. Under 2 minutes to play. We go on live at the 2-minute warning. So make sure you hit notify. What have we got for you coming out of this game? I've got your 6 big takeaways, I think, from this game and what we've seen so far. By the way, thank you very much for getting in there, for super chatting. Always appreciate it. Got one right out of the rip. Thank you very, very much to Norris Mitchell, putting $5 in the ganja jar. Thank you so much, Norris. Appreciate that. Biggest takeaway from the preseason finale, look, it was a good night of work for the ones. Tonight's ones. I know not all the guys who are out there in the starters are your ones, but we did see Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. You saw Purdy's first pass going to Deebo, second pass went to Kittle. So getting those guys a little rhythm early was clearly a goal. That goal was met. Brock Purdy's appearance in last week's preseason game was a waste of time for everyone involved. Some good quality work for Brock Purdy and his guys running with the ones, and some good production over the first quarter that we'll go over. The interception that he threw on his final play of this game, look, Deebo's got to catch that ball. You don't want to put that in a spot where it might go off of his hands, but it hit Deebo in the hands. We're not going to be worried about Brock Purdy's interception in this game. The only thing that made me worry in this game was a couple of injuries to defensive linemen we'll get into here in just a second, and it appears there's not much to be worried about. Hold on, let me pause for this incredibly dramatic 4th and 5 play that the Niners are running from their own 11-yard line. Tanner Mordecai is in, little floater to the back of the end zone. He outthrows, I believe that was Latu. He overthrows him, and it is going to be a turnover on downs. I don't know if Latu did anything tonight to get him a roster spot if he didn't already have one in the eyes of the 49ers coaching staff. But the second biggest takeaway of tonight's game, is that Isaac Guerendo Welcome to the NFL, kid. There is absolutely no doubt you have made this team. You are going to be on this team. He had the most electric special teams play of the preseason for the 49ers with a 98-yard kick return. He was pulled down inside the 5-yard line. He ran out of gas there a little bit at the end, but showing some explosion for sure. He got quite a few carries. Garendo, 11 carries, 32 yards. It's not even 3 yards a pop on average, but Garendo was also catching the ball tonight. And I think he appointed himself pretty darn well. I am not worried about Isaac Garendo's roster spot. I think he earned one tonight if he hadn't already. Jacob Cowing, as we see him right now, who scored his first career touchdown of any kind here this evening, Jacob Cowing is having a better start to his career than the first-round pick, Ricky Pearsall. And we'll get to him in just a little bit. But Cowing was impressive yet again tonight. So that was a good performance out of him. He's flashing in the right ways, in the ways you want to see a rookie wide receiver flash, given a small amount of opportunities due to the fact that he was injured early on in camp. He was a late bloomer in training camp due to that injury. His last 2 weeks, Tim Kawakami, I saw this on Twitter. He said, Jacob Cowing in the last 2 weeks has done more to impress the 49ers than Danny Gray has in the last 2 years, which doesn't speak to a lot of confidence for Danny Gray's roster spot to be waiting for him. Ronnie Bell, I think, is in that same boat. Jacob Cowing is clearly on this football team. Malik Mustafa. Malik Mustafa has been the apple of an awful lot of preseason eyes. We have told you how much I like the guy, how impressive he's been. You know what? He needs to, and I almost don't even want to make this comparison because Jordan Poole left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth and then moved on to Washington and got worse without the Warriors around him. But Jordan Poole was a guy who was so talented, so raw, he needed to learn how to slow down. Malik Mustafa needs to learn how to slow down just a little bit. Instead of looking to make the earth-shaking, picked up on the Richter scale level hit every single time, every single play. Slow down a little bit, be a little bit more fundamental, make sure you wrap on that tackle and do that. That is what I want to see from Malik Mustafa, but he looks ready to go. And, he's a starting quality player right now. And he started this game tonight. Jordan Mason, I thank you very much. Vince Vargas wanted to say Jordan Mason after the first quarter. I've seen enough. He is your RB2. Well, look, we might see Elijah Mitchell still hold the crown of RB2, but we have seen enough from Jordan Mason to know he is 100% better. He's a much better football player than he was just a year ago. We thought he was a football player who didn't get used nearly enough last year. This year, he is playing himself into you got to give me touches, Kyle. His work with the jugs machine was been much covered in this training camp. You saw that pay off on the one sideline catch that he made that after review was overturned. He didn't get that foot down. He didn't have control of the ball, whatever. He caught it. It was an impressive catch, whether it counted or not. And I was very, very impressed with what we saw out of JP Mason tonight. He's not just a pile mover either. He's not just a powerful back. He's a guy who has good vision, can see the hole, hit a back cut, find the daylight, and run through it. So he is much improved. Joshua Dobbs, I think, would be my choice for QB2. If Kyle does go with Brandon Allen, I'm also fine with that. The question is, do you want someone who fits better within the system or better when things break down? I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer there. I also think that when you're looking at, ceiling to floor, Dobbs has the higher ceiling. Allen's got the more established floor. It's hard to not take the guy with a higher ceiling. And I just think it's Dobbs. I do. He has appointed himself pretty darn well when the bullets start flying for real around him. His practice has been a little bit questionable. By the way, the Raiders are absolutely driving on about to get cut San Francisco 49ers. So the Raiders are in motion here. They just clocked the ball with 35 seconds left. They're at their 20-yard line, so they're going to be taking some stabs to the end zone to bring I think it's safe to say, the single most consequential, exciting preseason game in the history of the NFL to a conclusion here this evening. In the meantime, thank you for being here this evening. Please hit like and subscribe. We are growing past 23,000 subscribers. At the end of this football season, I really do. I want to be sitting at 30. So we're going to need an awful lot of the new people who are finding me after postgame to hit that like button, by the way. Get this bad boy growing and showing around the YouTube algorithm. That happens when you hit the like button, when you hit the subscribe button, when you hit the notify button, when you're active in the chat. That tells YouTube, oh, there's a little bit of a show going on here. So let's go ahead and share it wider and further than it might have. So thank you very much. You're a big part of the success we're trying to have here. You can go an awful lot of places to pick up your 49ers content. Thank you very much for coming back to Damon Bruce Plus. Really appreciate it. And we're going to be live at the 2-minute warning all football season long, every single 49er game. So please hit like and subscribe. Again, some good stuff that came from the early reps that the ones got in this game. It was really lucky that neither Yetur Gross-Matos or Leonard Floyd looked to really suffer a serious injury after all. On consecutive plays, those guys came off the field. By the way, that is a game-tying field goal, and everyone's worst nightmare seems to be happening. We're going to get an overtime preseason game. The last time the 49ers saw overtime in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, it didn't really end well, and I don't even care how this one ends, but just symbolically, if the 49ers do win the toss, they better fucking defer. Just symbolically, Kyle. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Leonard Floyd, who was a more serious concern, it looked like Yetur Gross-Matos sprained his ankle, twisted his ankle. He went into the blue tent, didn't come back to the game, but was roaming around the sidelines. For a minute there, Leonard Floyd was looking at and doing mental inventory enough on his knee where people were worried. He did get up and walk off the field under his own power, which is an A+ for sure. And the fact that he was out there with the team, back out on the field after having gone back to the locker room. Had there been something severe, you figure they're not letting him just walk around. He didn't go back into the game, but he was back around the team. So I don't think that that is a bad sign. By the way, for everyone looking for the latest Brandon Aiyuk sign, apparently Greg Papa said that he was with the team in Las Vegas today. He was at the game, and he needs to be on the field quickly, if you don't mind me saying. With 16 seconds left, here comes a hybrid kickoff from the Raiders to the Niners, who got the ball deep in the end zone and are going to take a knee, and we will see what, if anything, Clay Kubiak, who is calling plays tonight for Kyle Shanahan, wants to do here with 16 seconds left. It is probably take a knee and go to overtime. And again, overtime in the final preseason game, it's exactly what no one wanted. Like, it would have been worth asking Jake Moody to have missed a point after field goal just to catch a plane and get the hell out of Dodge on time. This overtime, everyone's going to be in Vegas 2 hours longer than they might have been because of this. Sorry, everybody. Oh, they are going to run a play. Here we go. We keep on hearing about Tanner Mordecai's arm. Well, let's take a look. Okay, so we just whipped that bad boy about 20 yards, kind of sidearm. Player dropped it. 7 seconds left. It's the worst 7 seconds in football history coming up. Let's be totally honest about that. Nobody wants this. We don't want to be here. Devin and Morgan Hill's got the right thing in mind. I just looked at this. Throw a pick six. Absolutely. Like, if I were Kyle Shanahan, I'll tell Tanner Mordecai, if you throw a pick six right now, I'll put you on the 53-man roster just to get us the hell out of here. Just to get us out of here. Throw a pick six. You're on the team. Most importantly from tonight's game, all the way back in the first quarter, which feels like a year ago. Brock Purdy was 9 of 12 for 96 yards. He came out, found Debo, found Kittle, got a little work in with Jordan Mason, got 3 series under his belt. Good work, felt the pressure, ran with the ball. Oh, by the way, that was nearly an interception for Mordecai. Didn't happen. It was tip at the line. It looked like a lineman came down with it, but 1 second left. I mean, this clock operator needs to be fired immediately. How do you not let that 1 second burn? What are you doing, Allegiant Stadium clock operator? The Niners have a chance. Oh, boy. A chance to prolong our evening of pain and suffering. By the way, that could have been the same injury that Brock Purdy suffered. Tanner Mordecai's elbow could have just turned into hamburger. He's fine. He's fine. I was going to launch one more time. Mordecai from about his own 40-yard line. I mean, he does uncork one down to the 5. It's going to be bobbled. Trent Taylor has caught it after a bobble, and he has lateraled it back to Ronnie Bell, who has fallen on it. Now we got the Cal band is on the field play happening. Ronnie Bell has lateraled that back to Cody Schrader. Cody Schrader laterals it back to Tanner Mordecai. I'm sure I'm not allowed to do preseason play-by-play, but here I go. Cody Schrader. I think that ball is dead right there because there was a forward pass. Now the ball is out. It's fumbled. Was it Nick Zakel who was picking up and running with it? Ball down at the 2. It is a final. There will be no preseason overtime. Thank God. I forgot about that overtime rule, much like Kyle Shanahan forgot about overtime rules. And all I can tell you is that is the single greatest ending to the history of a 24-24 49er Raider preseason football game ever. I'll never forget where I was. I hope you'll never forget where you are. Outside of the band being on the field, that was pretty good. Pretty good. A fun ending, kind of. There it is. Band is on the field. Band is on the field. It felt that way, didn't it? Yeah, that was that was the most exciting part of the entire game. Let's be completely honest. It is official. Preseason is over for the San Francisco 49ers. God has kissed us all on our football foreheads. And from here on out, boys and girls, it's officially time for Maximum Football! It's Damon Bruce Plus, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. This live stream being powered by BetUS with links to be found in the description to this video and pinned into the chat. Go ahead and see about 125% bonus on the first 3 deposits up to $2,000 on BetUS. It is great to have you here. We will be going live at the 2-minute warning for those who are just joining us, just stepping into the room. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on in. Hit like and subscribe. And our biggest takeaways tonight was quality work with the ones for Brock Purdy. Brock got to start this game with Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Jake Brendel, Dominic Pooney, who I think we can all count as a starter now. Colton McKivitz started this game tonight. Jordan Mason, Chris Conley, Braden Willis, Jalen Moore, and Nick Zakel were the ones that went out and played in this game this evening with the ones. And look, the very first play goes to Debo. The very second play of the game goes to Kittle. The first 2 passes cover 42 yards in the air, and Purdy comes out firing to his favorite targets. And it's the first connection between Purdy and Debo, or Purdy and Kittle, that we've seen all preseason long. Third play, or, about thereafter, Mason gets drilled for a 5-yard loss on his very first carry. He manages to catch a ball, though, coming back to Purdy that was ruled an incomplete pass with not enough to overturn. No, I think it was ruled complete, and then they overturned it. The feet weren't down. The ball might have been bobbled, but you know what? For a guy who's been working with the jugs machine, Mason made a really nice catch on that. 3rd and long, the pass was a little bit behind Kittle, and it was a 47-yard field goal by Jake Moody. 3 drives tonight for the ones. 3 drives. The 6-play, 37-yard drive that I just kind of told you about, followed by a 12-play, 85-yard drive capped with a Mason rushing touchdown, followed by a 3rd drive of the game which was made possible and came to the 49ers after they had forced a fumble. Purdy made a really nice throw to Chris Conley on a boot play. The drive would end up with a Purdy pick, though, after a false start that changed it down in distance from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6. Purdy tried to hit Debo on a little bit of a slant. It was kind of high and in front of Debo. It went off Debo's hands, which means he should have caught it. Wasn't Purdy's best pass, obviously. It ends up getting tipped in the air, come down with a nice interception. It was Chris Smith, the Raiders safety, who came down with the interception, got up and ran it back for a little bit. Nice little run back on his part. Made a nice return. And at that point, Brock Purdy was done for the evening, finishing with a line of Purdy was 9 of 12 for 96 yards. He averaged 8 yards and a rating of 63.2. Josh Dobbs would go 8 of 10 for 72 yards, but it was Brandon Allen who would come in next as QB2 in this game. And he was 5 of 7 for 60 yards. He did get sacked twice, but at that time, you know, they had pulled Pooney, I believe, out of the game. I think McKivitz got out of the game too. Like they were really in the backups in this one pretty early. When the ones came out, it was, I don't want to say Scribini time because it's disrespectful for these guys who are trying to forge careers, but it's a lot of guys who probably are not going to be on the Niners, are going to maybe be picked up off of waivers by some team, practice squatters. See you next year, guys. There's some guys who, you know, find a chance and opportunity to play in other cities and other markets. And there's some guys who tonight played the last organized football game that they'll ever play in their lives. So there's always drama. Cut down day is officially going to be Tuesday next week. But Allen does come out as QB2 in this game. Maybe the single most impressive pass, though, in this game tonight came on Jacob Cowing's first career touchdown. Josh Dobbs ripped a pass to Cowing for a touchdown in a really tight window in the back of the end zone. And to me, like, that's the kind of throw that just makes me think, okay, if you want to give him QB2, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. You want to give it to Allen? Okay. You know, hopefully QB2 won't be a factor at any point in time, and any debate about who it should be is totally moot because you never even see him. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be wonderful? I thought Dobbs kind of earned it tonight. And again, Isaac Guerendo is a guy who 100% earned his way onto this roster this evening. A slow start to training camp due to injury. Guerendo, he comes through with the biggest play of the preseason of any form for the 49ers, a 93-yard kickoff return. He was brought down inside his own 5-yard line that set up a short and quick touchdown drive. Running back Patrick Taylor, who's a free agent from Green Bay, signed with the team. He ended up punching it in. Guerendo got opportunities to run with the ball to varying degrees of success, to make plays with his hands to varying degrees of success. I would have this guy returning kickoffs. I would absolutely have Jacob Cowing returning punts, which means there probably now isn't room on this team for Taylor to make it as a special teams wide receiver / hybrid type of guy. I think that the biggest butterfly effect was the Isaac Guerendo making this team, and that's going to have a ripple effect, which means Matt Breida's probably not on this team. Cody Schrader is going to be probably ticketed to the practice squad based on what we saw out of Guerendo. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey spoken for. Elijah Mitchell, I know we've kind of forgotten about him because he hasn't been in the mix. He's impressive when he's not hurt. Problem is for him, he's usually hurt. And that brings us to Jordan Mason, who was impressive again tonight. That's good. I think the 49ers are loaded with backfield running back talent, especially if Guerendo continues to develop on this track. He was pretty impressive. Iceman letting us know, I had 3 team parlays with the Niners money line tonight. Well, cha-ching. Thank you very much. I hope you put it all down on bet. I hope that's going, Iceman 0072, to make your bets, but thank you very much for the super chat. Sean Turner, I believe you are right. Goodbye, Danny Gray. I have a feeling that that's the way it's going to go. Patrick Taylor is probably not long for the 49ers at this point as well either. Not due to his lack of talent, but just due to the investments made at other guys who have clearly showed talent and need places on this team. So Garendo was used in several different ways. He stood out in several different ways, and I think he's 100% on this team. And look, rightfully so, we have criticized over the years an awful lot of the draft picks that the San Francisco 49ers have made. And it is an inexact science for sure, undoubtedly. So to try to ask anyone to bat 100%, hit 80% of your picks, that's big. The problem is for the 49ers, they've really struck gold in the 5th round historically with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. They've apparently struck a little gold in the 4th round of last year's draft. They continue to swing and miss on high priority value 1st round picks. Trey Lance being the single biggest example of it. Solomon Thomas being another example of it. And all I can tell you is that I hope that a year from now, we're not saying that Ricky Pearsall is once again an example of the 49ers missing out on the 1st round. Lots of concern about Ricky Pearsall's shoulder and what the Niners knew about chronic injury in that shoulder. And if you knew about it, why'd you take the risk of drafting him? And so on and so forth. And the hand-wringing around Ricky Pearsall has begun, and even rightfully so. Like, I'll tell you when the media is looking for attention and looking to stir up a pot of nothing, or when they're maybe onto something. There's a maybe onto something here. Ricky Pearsall hasn't been able to play because he's been hurt, but he never actually got hit by another football player to get hurt. So, red flag, bad start. But it would be insane. And only a fool would try to give you a definitive grade on what Ricky Pearsall is. The only definitive grade that you can give Ricky Pearsall right now is incomplete, absent. We don't know what Ricky Pearsall is going to be, but it's a bad start. No doubt about that. If starts can either only be good starts or bad starts, only black and white, there is no gray. Bad start for Ricky Pearsall. However, he could still really be a good player. And if he is, what a draft class it looks like the 49ers have actually come away with. Bernardo Green, your 2nd round pick in this last draft, is a good corner who is going to play this year. His spot on this team is 1,000% assured. He is going to be on the field this season. Dominic Pooney. All signs are that the 3rd round pick is going to be this team's starting right guard. And Pooney is one Trent Taylor away from joining the team, from maybe being this team's best offensive lineman. With all due respect to Aaron Banks, who's sitting right now, Colton McKivitz can probably be a better tackle thanks to the fact that he's playing next to Dominic Pooney, who looks to be the real deal, which is good news. Then you got the 3 4th-rounders, Malik Mustafa, Garendo, and Cowing. So you got a starting quality safety right there in Malik Mustafa, who is flashing in all the right ways, and 2 guys who are on this team at the very least as special teamers in Garendo and Cowing. Cowing is going to get reps at wide receiver this year. There's just no doubt. There's just no doubt about it. Jarrett Kingston is a guy who's getting snaps like they really want to find a place for him on this team in the interior offensive line. He could be a practice squad guy. Tatum Bethune was a heart and hustle story that has showed so much heart and hustle and always being around the football that he could be on this team this year as well. That's a lot of guys from this draft class who have early in their 9 or 10 years have impressed us in one way or the other. And again, we still haven't even seen the 1st round pick yet, for reasons that are semi-concerning. But this is This is pretty good. This is a pretty good looking draft class, to say the least. Pearsall is a gamble, to say the least. I would agree with you there. Yeah, it's a gamble right now. Chris Conley is definitely on this team. There's no doubt about it. Chris Conley is he looks to be an improved player. No doubt. He looks like he's got a role to play on the team this year. But this all brings us back to Brandon Aiyuk. And, man, I do think that, Trent Williams and Brandon Aiyuk, without having stepped on the field yet, continue to win these preseason games because their absence, I think, is felt. I think it's measured in performance and execution. So Williams is a full-on, gots-to-be there week one guy. You'd like to think that Brandon Aiyuk is going to be viewed in the same boat by the 49ers. But that situation's gone so wonky, so weird, so odd that anyone making a prediction about it now is, gambling with their own reputation because nobody knows. Something is weird. There's no doubt about it. Again, impressed by Jordan Mason tonight. The guy's not just a pile mover. His improved hands were on display. He's good at feeling that cutback lane. He's good at getting to the daylight that opens around him. He's not just a pile pusher. He is not just a guy who is Johnny all squat rack. He's really got a good feel as a running back, and I think needs to be given an opportunity to shine this year by Kyle, not only because you want a little in Christian McCaffrey's tank come postseason time, but because this guy's a real deal. Like Jordan Mason would be running back one on no fewer than 12 other NFL rosters, you would imagine. So he's the real deal. And as we said, Leonard Floyd, he sacked Peterman on the Raiders' opening drive to get off the field quickly. That was good. He later went down in the first quarter. He got rolled up on by Malik Collins. He sat on the field grabbing his knee. He walked off the field gingery, and that was your scare of the night. Yatir Gross-Matos had just come off the field as well with an ankle issue. And for a team that's already a little, light in the defensive end loafers, having two guys who are defensive ends go down in this game, I'm sure gave John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan a little bit of a heart flutter. But they both looked to be none too worse for wear, and hopefully we're not getting some MRI the following day when the swelling went down, reveals some sort of meniscus bullshit or anything like that. That's what you're hoping for. The defense didn't give up a Raiders first down until about 2:30 left in the first quarter. So, that side of the ball, which was a little bit more in its depth chart than the offensive side of the ball was. Tonight, your 49ers starting defense was Leonard Floyd, Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave, Yatir Gross-Matos, Devondre Campbell, Curtis Robinson, Diamador Lenore, Renardo Green, Rock Ya-Sin, Jair Brown, and Malik Mustafa. So an awful lot of guys who would be out there under normal circumstances were not. But an awful lot of those names, every single one of them is going to play a big role for the 49ers defensively this year. And they all look pretty good together. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team does defending the up-the-gut run, which looks to be a little bit of a concern at all times, when all the pieces are on the field really fitting together as they're supposed to. And you're not digging deep into hopefully these guys can get the job done. I want to see what this team really looks like once again when they're at full strength, when all the pieces are out on the field at the very same time. And boy, we are 17 days away, right? From dun 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 bum bum ba-dum dun dun dun.
Maximum
It's coming. It's coming. Again, the 3 drives for tonight's version of The Ones were quality drives, quality work. I don't think Shanahan and the 49ers walked away from their game against the New Orleans Saints thinking, yeah, we got some guys putting some good stuff on the team tonight or on the tape tonight. This was a good night of work for us. This was good tune-up for us. It didn't really feel that way against New Orleans. This was a much, much better preseason tune-up for the 49ers here in their third and, thank God, final preseason game. This one is it. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Like and subscribe, my good friends. We only have 78 likes. With all of these people in the room who have come in, come out, I would hope we would have more than 78 likes here in the room. This is a quality show. I'm not taking a poll. I'm telling you this is a quality show. And go ahead and hit that like button if you would, please. It is no skin off your back, and it makes the channel grow. So thank you very, very much for doing that. And look, there is plenty to like about the 49ers. I think that's a huge understatement. It has been bad vibe summer. The holdout of Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams have been unbecoming, to say the least. But this is a pretty good football team. And I think that that's an understatement. And if they can stay healthy, they're going to have a shot to do an awful lot of damage in the league this year. If they get Trent Williams back, like it feels like damage is assured. If they go ahead and they start getting, Brandon Aiyuk back in the mix, it feels like this team might pick up offensively right where it left off. The didn't look super smooth Brock Purdy from last week, that guy checked out, and the real Brock Purdy stood up this week. He looked good. Again, I'm not going to hold that interception against him. By the way, I saw the like counts just go up, so thank you very much for the call and response. I appreciate the action after the call to action there. Thank you very, very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe too, as long as we are getting in on it. Thanks very much. Super chats. We always break for those when we see them. This is Craig's Kitchen 360. At least I don't have to listen to any of my Raider fans talk shit. Yeah, I mean, but literally, other than delusional shit talking and great uniforms, what do you have if you're a Raiders fan? What have you got? You got Max Crosby, you got Devontae Adams, you got Gardner Minshew's mustache, which, will be fun for about 8 weeks, I'm guessing. And then that's Bo Nix in Denver starting to figure it out. And man, Jim Harbaugh is now coaching the Chargers. And the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team on the planet. And no matter how hard the Raiders try to climb out of the muck and the grime of being the fourth best team on paper, whether physically, theoretically, in their own division. Like ever since they moved to Las Vegas, that was supposed to be what cured them of being the worst team in their own division year in, year out. And since the Raiders have moved to Las Vegas, they have far and away been the worst team in their own division year in and year out. It took the utter collapse of the Denver Broncos to give the Raiders any wiggle room out of that designation as worst team in the AFC West. And maybe for a minute there, the Broncos actually bottomed out. But then Bo Nix gets drafted and things change. Things change. Optimism changes. The Raiders are stuck in between quarterbacks. They might be stuck in between head coaches. We'll find out if Antonio Pierce really is the guy. But the Raiders are going to be lucky to win 6 games this year. And that means same old Raiders. You can take the Raiders out of Oakland. You can't take the Raiders out of Mark Davis's barber chair. You can't. I thought Purdy's best play came on consecutive plays. He throws to Kittle on 3rd down on the second drive of the game. He high-pointed a ball right in the middle of the field. And then I don't know if it was the very next play or 1 or 2 plays later. Again, preseason note-taking, not as thorough as regular season note-taking, pardon me. Purdy took off for a 14-yard gain. He totally gave himself up, and he did so smartly. He could have probably gone for another 4 or 5 yards, but he was trying to avoid contact. That's where he got most of the grass stains on his jersey. He did get hit, good 2-3 times tonight, 3-4 times tonight, which is more hits than you want your QB1 taking in a preseason game. But Purdy even talked about it with Greg Papa and Tim Ryan there in the third quarter on the TV broadcast. These guys need a little contact to feel the season coming, get their bodies acclimated. Kittle felt a little contact. Debo felt a little contact tonight. Purdy's felt contact 2 weeks in a row. Everybody on the line of scrimmage, you're in the contact business, to say the least. So let's see what we got. This could be a really fun and spectacular season for the 49ers. I could also see, neither Trent Williams nor Brandon Aiyuk being there week one, them letting go of the rope on Monday Night Football, starting the year 0-1 with amount of bad feelings and the I told you so's coming from the peanut gallery, who really won't be wrong. Really won't be wrong with the Brandon Aiyuk, Trent Williams, I told you so's if neither guy is there. If this team stays healthy, if everything goes right, if Nick Bosa is back to a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, if Fred Warner becomes a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, if Charvarius Ward, who I really believe is the most underrated 49er on this football team in terms of how good is he to this team, how important is he to this team, and how good is he measured against his peer group, his position group around the league. Mooney Ward is the real deal. And that guy is going to go a long way to decide what this year looks like, because with Mooney Ward being who he bees, now Renardo Green, Yatir Gross-Matos, Rock Ya-Sin on the other side really gets a chance to step up, and Diamador Lenore gets to go inside and play that nickel, the slot, and man, that could give the 49ers the best secondary in the NFC. It really could. They could have a monster secondary. You couple it with a pass rush that hopefully is improved with better defensive tackle play around, still worried about the depth, but not worried about the talent as long as it's healthy defensive end play. Look, there's something there. There's more than something there. There's a reason why the 49ers are favored to win every game that is on their schedule still, I believe, in Las Vegas. I'm going to have to go to BetUS to check that one out and see if that's how it remains. This team is built well. They're missing a couple important pieces, but this team is built well. It's coached well. It's talented. It's experienced. These guys have been around each other long enough to know each other, know their instincts, know how pieces fit together, know guys' strengths and weaknesses inside and out. Should be a monster year of 49ers football. But it's got to, and I really mean this, it has got to be a quick start for them. Because, man, I'm telling you, this season's schedule goes from a little bit open and semi-easy at the beginning of it right into a gauntlet of an awful lot of pain waiting week after week after week after week, with rest disparities being baked into this schedule over and over and over again. So that's what the 49ers are dealing with. They're going to have an awful lot of the NFL's regular season thrown at them. If they can survive from an injury standpoint, I think they got a hell of a punch to throw back at the NFL. I think you think so too. It could be a very good year. But it's going to be a year full of anxiety and critical, finger pointing and blaming and demanding perfection out of a team that suggests at times it's good enough to almost achieve it. But the stakes are high. There's not a lot of wiggle room in you better win the goddamn Super Bowl. That's it. That's the only yes to did the 49ers have a good season. I mean, yeah, it would be a good season if they're back in the Super Bowl, but to go back to a Super Bowl and then not win it again, I mean, it would just be devastating for Kyle's reputation, who is so good in the regular season, so good in the playoffs, but comes up short when it matters the most. Again, it's a whopping 2-game sample size. We're not going to hold the Atlanta Falcons choke against him. He was not the head coach. but he's lost 2 Super Bowls as a head coach. You lose that third, and it's hard to imagine you going back a 4th time and then winning that one. It really is. Stakes are high. Couldn't get any higher. Which brings me back to Trent Williams and Brandon Aiyuk and the deal that needs to be done. James Jones says, thank you, Damon. I've been saying the same for weeks now. We got no idea what Pearsall can and will be. It's going to take time to get the verdict on that. Yeah, everybody wants to be a hot take artist, James. Everybody wants to be the first to marketplace with the, this is the correct answer. I got it right. No one has it right on Ricky Pearsall yet. No one knows what Ricky Pearsall is going to be. How could you? We haven't seen him. Tell me more about the movie you've never seen. Tell me more about the book you haven't read. Please sing me the chorus of the song you've never heard. You can't speak on it with any authority. You're just going with your gut. And my gut says it's not great that Ricky Pearsall is hurt when he has done nothing other than put a non-contact jersey on. But football's hard. And bodies, can be, injured one day and back ready to go the next. So I don't know what Ricky Pearsall is. I know he needs to be a 1st-round pick that actually pays off in the Niners. They could use one of those. I will agree with you here, though. Pooney is legit, Sean. He absolutely is. Our friend Rockin' New Era 84. Pooney time. Pooney time. Pooney time. Across the USA. Remember, that was Booty Time from Ford Fairlane. Booty time, booty time. Look it up, kids. Look it up. We don't have enough time on tonight's show to tell you about the legend of Ford Fairlane and Andrew, the Dice Man Clay. It's we don't want to start violating content agreements. Don't touch my Pooney, Rob in the Bay. Rob, no one's coming for your Pooney. I can promise you that, brother. No one. Kyle Kaiser. Mustafa just needs a little development, loads of potential. Oh, indeed. Yeah, Tay Martin, fumble, bye. Look, Tay Martin could have not fumbled, and it was probably going to be a goodbye. Rob says he is a gambling man. Well, that's great. Get yourself to BetUS in the link that is pinned to the chat or in the description of this video. Make sure you use that link and sign up for BetUS, my good friend. We got King Drew who says, man, I just want to be annoying and say Raiders. Greg Papa. I want to shoot Greg Papa with sodium pentothal and ask him if we could go back in time and you're still the voice of the Raiders and you're now living in Las Vegas full time, or you're the voice of the 49ers and you're still in the Bay. I wonder what he would have really chosen if given the opportunity to write his own story. I wonder. You can hear the love that Greg still has for the Raiders in tonight's 49ers broadcast. You could. At least I could. Iceman wants to know, what's your opinion on Tanner Mordecai? My opinion on Tanner Mordecai is he is not going to be a factor at all in this season. I think you can sneak him through waivers and he's on your practice squad. That's what I think of Tanner Mordecai. I've heard about this big, strong arm. When it comes to quarterbacks, the big, strong arm is kind of like a prerequisite for even being a pro quarterback, to be completely honest with you. So all rumors of this guy's got a big arm, like my whole point is like, well, he should. It's like when you hear, well, let me tell you about this new NBA draft pick. He's an athlete. Oh, well, thanks very much. Of course he is. Like, if he's not, how could he possibly have been drafted into the NBA if he weren't athletic? Tanner Mordecai is somebody who coaches and guys who look at someone through the prism of prospect get very excited about. That's super duper. I don't know if there's a single regular season snap waiting for him in the NFL anywhere this year, to be completely honest with you. When I saw him at Wisconsin, he was just a Big Ten quarterback. There was nothing that stood out at all in my eyes that made me think, hey, well, look at this. So, I'm not here to have any definitive opinion on Tanner Mordecai. He could be a good quarterback one day. I just know that the 49ers, they got a starting quarterback. So how much time do they really have to tinker and develop a guy named Tanner Mordecai? What they need to do is sign Trent Williams, keep Brock Purdy healthy, and make a decision on Dobbs or Allen to be QB2. And again, I think that they got a very good choice to make. I think their QB2 will be an above average backup quarterback. Chef A wants to point out, doesn't Malik Mustafa have maybe one of the best names in all of football? Right up there with Puka Nacua? 100%. Malik Mustafa. First of all, Mustafa. Just the name alone sounds menacing, right? Mustafa. There's a little Lion King maybe baked into that bias. But it's just an intimidating name, for sure. You want a football player named Mustafa on your team. That works. Puka Nacua, great name. I still say to this day, the greatest kicker name of all time is Donald Igwebuike. Still a great name. Best football name ever might have belonged to former Notre Dame linebacker Michael Stonebreaker. Like, it doesn't get much better than that. Almost out of water. And look, almost out of time. It's a preseason game. How much excited can we, get about things here? We want to thank very much Vince Vargas, who has become a member. I mean, you really want to talk about ways to support this channel? Thinking about becoming a monthly member really goes a long way to support. Sometimes you get free access or early access to some videos that I post. Sports Bane will be addressing all members of the initiated very shortly. I've been told by Sports Bane, so there's a video to keep looking out for a member. What it does is support the channel for the price of a cup of coffee. It really does. So thank you very much. And again, if you don't want to super chat, you don't want to become a member, you just want free YouTube, hey, I get it. Like and subscribe is all we ask you to do. To like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very, very much. How about that? UC Steve says, Damon, how about a sip in the night? No, it's got to be coffee. And it's too late for me to be cracking coffee. I just got a little water bottle here. It's an IU water bottle. I'm not happy that the part of the U peeled off in a... This is why you can't put stuff in the dishwasher. You got to hand wash the custom stuff. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Steve says the Niners need Trent Williams. I think the line is not as strong without Trent. Steve, water is wet, the earth is round. You're correct. The offensive line is not as strong without the single best offensive lineman maybe in the NFL playing on it. Yeah, Vince is getting official welcomes now. Vince, you get a fancy new badge when you chat. Get a little star next to your name. The real members of the initiated who have been here since the get-go now have very fancy yellow star badges. There are light blue star badges. There are purple badges. There are navy blue badges. If you got a gold badge right now, you've been there since day one. And I thank all of those members so very, very much for supporting since day one. Thanks to my man Aiyuk, who's been incredibly supportive since day one. Thanks to our friends at the Dubliner West Portal for being incredibly supportive and a sponsor of this channel. And again, we're powered by BetUS. This live stream brought to you in part by BetUS. Check out the link in the description of this video or the one that is pinned right to the top of the chat and use that portal to go ahead and start checking out BetUS. If you're looking for a book, especially you here in California, you need something that has a little international flair to it because you can't use other betting services yet in the state of California, state of Texas, state of Florida, where gambling hasn't been legalized. You got to go offshore, and that's what BetUS is. And it's important for me to tell you that during BetUS and its offshore program, they've been doing it long enough to where you don't need to worry about, am I really going to get paid? Yes, you will get paid in a timely fashion. It is the real deal. So check out BetUS, and right now, again, they're being very generous, offering a 125% bonus on the first 3 deposits you make up to $2,000. So check out BetUS. Mike Antics is just saying, yes, Sportsbane welcomes you. I'm not sure. That guy's been MIA. He's coming, Mike. I hear he's coming. If his damn kids would just get to bed a little bit earlier in the night, I would have more time to do it. Steve says, trade Aiyuk for Devontae Adams. That's not on the table. Again, if Aiyuk is not here, it's because of money. Well, that's one thing that's definitely attached to Devontae Adams. So I just don't think it's going to happen. Craig's Kitchen says, Damon, you can call me Craig. Oh, is Craig's Kitchen 360 like an actual business or an actual restaurant or a kitchen? Craig's, tell me more. Chef A says, sorry, guys, I'm a little too lazy to look it up on Google. Where the fuck is Jimmy G these days? He's in Los Angeles. He's trying to make the Rams team. Mario says, yes, very lucky. Good. I'm so glad I found it. You talk truth, Damon. Keep it going. I'm glad you found me too, Mario. Thank you very much. Indeed. RJ Waxed. Putting $10 into the ganja jar. High quality show, no doubt. I look forward to it more than any other post-game show. RJ Wax, thank you so very, very much. Appreciate that. Again, thank you. I'm going to be joining my buddy Larry Kruger here. Of course, one of the reasons why I want you to hit notifies because Larry and I are going to be going live 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with Wake Up, which will begin at 9 a.m. West Coast time for a thrice weekly show that is brought to you by Sam's Chowder House. We're so happy to have them aboard as a sponsor. And it's going to be, I believe, the biggest sports talk radio station coming from San Francisco. That's not actually a sports talk radio station. I know for a fact that Larry and I will have bigger audiences than 95.7 The Game or KNBR combined. That's the kind of pull that Wake Up is going to have and the growth that we're going to be enjoying this coming season. So come along for the ride. We're going to do it our way. We're going to do it independently, and it's going to be a really good show. No bullshit. It's going to be really good. So thank you very much, RJ Waxed, for being here. And again, I ask you to spread the word. If you're a 49er fan and you got a group of 49er fans who maybe don't know about this channel, share this link with them. Hit share. Send them a copy of this saying you should subscribe to this guy. He goes live at the 2-minute warning. And, he's been doing 49er post-game shows in one way or the other for the better part of about 20 years. So we got a little experience, we got a little know-how, we got a little familiarity with the team. We're going to have great guests, we're going to have great content, and I can promise you it's set up to be a great season here in the Bay. And Vince, you are right. Regular season, here we come. Thank God. Not a minute too soon. Not a minute too soon. QJ. D, you're up late. What a treat. Like and subscribe, or you're a bum. Thank you, QJ. QJ was in there this morning watching a little Wake Up. So you've been rocking with me all day, brother. Thank you so very, very much. Ed O'Neill, you're right. Ed O'Neill did booty time, Gareth. You're right about that. Booty time, cross the USA. Ford Fairlane. It was an objectively terrible movie that has become fondly remembered as a great movie. Chef A wants you all to know, don't touch my poonie, damn it. What do we got here? Sean says, I got stuck with the Raiders broadcast team on NFL Network. Garbage. Oh, I'm sorry. Wasn't that our friend JT the Brick? Wasn't he doing some preseason, or was he doing preseason radio, or was he doing preseason TV? Larry thinks that Mordecai is the next Purdy. Yeah, Larry, gets a little excited about players that he sees every day at practice. It's like I should probably go to a little bit more practice, and Larry should probably go to a little bit less. Like, I feel like if you're around too long, you start drinking the Kool-Aid on some guys. If you don't go as much as I don't go, maybe I'm not as dialed in as I could be. But as I've always said, dude, I ain't here to cover practice. Oh, who threw that training camp interception? Who had a bad preseason game? Who's this, that, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Talk to me when the games count. Talk to me when that scoreboard matters. Talk to me when the statistics actually get written down into a record book. Then we can talk about what just happened. I don't cover no damn football practice, but I do a little. Again, maybe Larry needs to do a little less. Thank you, Damon. You rock. Craig's Kitchen, thank you very much. Again, don't know exactly what Craig's Kitchen is. Oh, here we go. Check it out. It's new. I'm a retired barbecue chef. Oh, well, now you're talking my language. Barbecue is something that I get excited about. Like, I know some people at night, when they're feeling a little lonely, they put on a little pornography to fill their time. I'll watch barbecue videos. I'll watch Aaron Franklin of Franklin's Barbecue give lessons on how to do the right brisket. I've watched like the same how to get your brisket right video, no fewer than 10, 15 times. I'm a big barbecue guy. All right. I feel better about Craig's now. From Greg Argisi. Thank you very much, Greg. Already the best show. Nice cut, Damon. You're number one. What did we cut? Did we cut something? Thank you. I don't know, but thank you very much, Greg. Really do appreciate it. And all I can tell you is this is the right way to end it. Rick Allen says the final play of the Sister Kisser was hilarious. Yeah, band was on the field for the final play of this game. It ends in a tie. Thank God there is no preseason overtime. Thank God there is no overtime coin toss for Kyle Shanahan to get wrong in Allegiant Stadium once again. That's picking a scab that nobody needs to go that deep on. And look, again, our biggest takeaways. A good night of work for the ones is a good night of work for the ones. That was good. Purdy got some quality snaps. Isaac Garendo, kid, you're on the team. Very impressive special teams burst out of you tonight. Special teams punt return gave up an 81-yard touchdown. That wasn't very good. Special teams is always a concern on Kyle Shanahan's teams, and that seems to have remained the same. Tyreek McAllister, by the way, if that guy wasn't on the Raiders team before tonight, I think he made the team tonight. With that punt return, it was a Tyreek McAllister game. He absolutely burned Womack for a touchdown in this game, too. He scored 2 touchdowns. 90% 49er fans in attendance in that place. I mean, 90%? Is that even an exaggeration? And if you're saying, Damon, it wasn't 90%, will you give me 83%? I mean, that was a stupid amount of opposing fans sitting in a stadium that'll, again, never draw a home field crowd ever again. The only time there's one home game for the Raiders that they play all year long, and it's on the road when they play the Chargers at SoFi. That's a home Raiders crowd. They will never have that percentage of Raiders fans in Allegiant Stadium for a single game, maybe not never in the history of their franchise going forward. But this is what happens when you let Mark Davis make the real big boy decisions. And there you go. By the way, Craig's Kitchen. Damon, I know Q. That's good. Sean, Damon, you jerk it to brisket videos? Maybe. Look at them. I look at Bristol. I look at brisket videos with lust in my heart. I love brisket. Now I want to try Craig's Kitchen. My barbecue name was the Rib Slayer. No shit, Damon. 24 years later, I'm retired. Dude, Craig, how are we going to get together? How am I going to try some of this barbecue? How are you going to get some of this barbecue on the show? I mean, that's something we need to figure out. Craig, maybe you can get some barbecue going for the next Plus Mania that we're going to run, during the bye week of the 49ers season? I don't know. We'll try to figure it out. But in the meantime, there it is. I am going to hop on with Larry for just a little bit. I know he had a long day. I've had a long day. You've had a long day. But that's my guy right there. So I'm going to hop on with him for a little bit. Thank you very, very much for being here tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. If you have not hit a like at any point in time during your viewing, please do one now on your way out the door. Thank you very much. That'll help the live stream grow and live a little bit more in the algorithm. Hit notify. That way, when we go live at the 2-minute warning or any day at 11 or any day during wake up, you will know that we are live. We're talking football. We're talking 49ers. We're talking Bay Area sports. We're talking big sports headlines. And that's what we're doing here on Damon Bruce Plus. Thank you for supporting the product that is. The podcast is officially up there for you. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can get Damon Bruce in podcast form. I was never meant to be seen. There's a reason why this was on the radio, but they screwed that up. So now, if you're on YouTube, you got to suffer through looking at this. I'm terribly sorry. Thank you all so very much. And again, the single most important thing I can leave you with is the preseason is over. 170 days until the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and it all starts with a game against the Jets, Monday Night Football, Week 1, and I'll hopefully see you before then. I hope you'll be checking me out before then. Lots of great shorts coming out, lots of great videos getting cranked out, live streams for you all the time. But at the very least, I hope to see you again at the 2-minute warning on September 9th, 49ers Jets Monday Night Football. And I can assure you,
Maximum Football
will be achieved. Thanks to Ike's, thanks to the Dubliner West Portal. Thank you to BetUS. Check out BetUS in the link below. And look, I want to tell you just one more time here that Def Leppard Journey Steve Miller Band on next Wednesday coming to Oracle Park. That is a fun show. sfgiants.com/rock for tickets, including like you want to go big ballin', you want to get a suite. There you go. That's a fun concert coming to the Yard. They asked me to help promote, and I said, sure. You give me great tickets, I'll do that. And so, boom. Jillian and I are going to that. Thank you very, very much for being a part of this, for becoming a member of the Initiated, for those who left super chats tonight, for those who hit liked, subscribe, and notify. Please do remember that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone. And thank God, so is the NFL's preseason. Toodaloo. Won't miss you at all.